2022 on November 5th, 2021. Please rise and we'll pledge the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, before we go through and do big comments, I want to read parts of this letter that I wrote so the public can understand roughly where we are and what's going on.
Okay.
Oh, Elliot. Okay. So I put a memo together giving the changes from the tentative budget to the preliminary draft budget that we have before us. The reason I call it preliminary draft is because there's so many changes being made, it was impossible to keep track of it from the tentative budget anymore. So I just called it draft, plus we got to recycle this thing real quick for the next meeting, and I get tired of changing all the words. And to get all the numbers, looking for cutting expenses and finding revenue, et cetera, of keeping the tax rate down or negative, keeping the below the tax cap. Councilman Michael Whitten, Town Clerk Carol Mackin, and Deputy Town Clerk Mary Malloy helped me, and so there's a variety of people putting in different things. The essence of it is we show a 13 cents decrease in the tax rate to $2.08, which is a 6% decrease. And we're under the tax cap, which would have given us $44,196 more than we had last year for the taxes. So we came out now with $2,232 under the tax cap. So that's just a quick summary. I'm not going to go into all the minuscule details. There are 24 major changes that were done to make that occur. Now, the proposed high costs are special projects. One of them, and I'm not going to go into all the detail on some of these, one is to install a sulfur gas elimination treatment system so we can use the town's tap water for drinking and cooking purposes, okay? That's not in the budget, it's a possible thing. Maybe ARPA can fund it, I don't know. The other one is not in the budget, to repair the highway garage roof before foam insulating the roof using ARPA funds. That's possible, but we haven't approved it or anything, but I just wanted to put it there. We've taken out, we were hoping to be able to afford town-wide reassessment. It's not in the budget right now. Could be next year. It doesn't say you can't do it. And the other one is, I put down, is the town complex new generator installation. Maybe possible using the ARPA funds, because I've been asking for that for many years. So those are just some of the highlights, and I'm not, as I say, going through all the details. Oops. So we have a choice, and I give it up to the board. We can take the detailed budget and go line by line all the way through for the general funds, or if you're happy with what the notes tell you and what we've done, we can just say it's good, okay? I just need a sense of direction as to which way you want to go. Your choice, I don't care. Or if you have a particular line that you would like to further discuss, we'll discuss that one or two lines. Otherwise, we'll go through them all. I don't care. It'll just take time.
My preference would be to at least look through it, because we didn't see this until tonight.
Oh, I
And a lot of
understand.
my notes are pertaining to this, some of which have happened and some haven't, so.
Whichever, as I said, it's your choice. I can do it either way.
don't know, anybody else agree?
Well, I mean, I'm going down this list here of things that you decreased.
Decreased and increased, you know, there's
One of the
some-
things you reduced was the attorney's fee.
Yep.
Because you're thinking that it's gonna go down 20,000.
Well, I had increased it by 20, feeling that with the new administration, a lot of new people, and I'm not writing laws or anything, that you're gonna use more of his services. You may not, I don't know, you may not do new laws.
We're almost done with the zoning revision, which means that the attorney fees are gonna go up because
Well-
he's gonna have to review all the laws that we just
Well,
went through.
You know, it's a trade-off. I don't know if we'll get there, because we gotta do other aspects too. We are under it right now, under the 75,000.
I understand.
If
You
you
know,
look
I just
at
don't
what we
like kicking the
spent-
can down the hill,
well-
you know, when we know we have these expenses,
Yeah.
and, you know, we talked about kind of phasing in the cost of updating the Code 360, which is going to be a big expense, and the attorney fees, which is going to be a big expense, for all these new laws that we've spent 8 years on doing all the work for.
Well, no, the laws,
We do them, I do them.
We do them
as we
every-
do them.
Well, I
They-
understand, but
And they're
when-
coded.
when we do all of these all at once, they're gonna have to codify all of the laws, which is gonna be a big expense.
you get a bulk rate because they're all in one issue. one
Nonetheless,
zoning thing.
we're not planning for it.
Yeah. And, you know, we did submit some right now, we
Yeah,
didn't get
as-
billed.
Well, we're
for.
submitting them as we go along, but
Yeah, we do
we're
5
talking
at a
about,
time.
Section
I'm guessing,
250.
I'm guessing 50 laws that we're changing.
No,
Well, it's one zoning law.
it's one
I
zoning
I know
law.
it's one zoning law, but there's 50 sections that we've,
Yeah, but we pay by the law when we go to get the work done. We don't pay by the piece.
That's right.
So what do we, is there an estimate, Dean, that you're thinking?
I haven't even,
I didn't know if you had something.
no, I don't know at all. All I'm saying is, we're not addressing it here. And to say that the attorney's fee is gonna go down by 20,000 kind of flagged
That
me
was a
into the...
guess on my
Well,
part. I
it
mean,
kind of flagged me
it
to the
could've been-
fact that we're probably gonna have more legal work next year if we're done with the zoning code.
If I could just say, though, that just the minus 20, Ray had increased it by 20, so it's flat. It's the same.
It's flat from,
From what it
And
is
we,
this
and
year.
we had put that number in expecting zoning revision to finish this year.
Right.
So we had raised the attorney fees last year, so now we've kept it flat, because we had an extra 20 originally, and now we've said, all right, let's take that out and leave it flat from what we anticipated for this year.
because you're not gonna get to it till
Yeah.
23.
So I guess the bigger question is, what do we estimate to this date with everything that we did this past year getting up? What do we pay for the attorneys this year, just to kind of get an
I
idea?
got, I gotta look. I can't tell you. I dealt with too many numbers. I can't even tell you my home phone number at this point. Now, this is looking at the, okay, here we are, attorney. This is the October supervisor's report, which I just got today, so just looking at it. We spent 52,602 so far this year out of 75,000. So it says, you know, through 10 months, you spent that.
So we're about 20, just 19,000.
We're 22 under. We're 22 under.
Yeah, we're 22 under.
Oh,
We got
22
the
under.
math right here. Yeah. So we probably won't spend it all. I don't know. And, you know, unless all of a sudden something pops up that we're doing, because I don't know of any major law that we're doing or anything like that. Just the frequency of how many times people call them and ask them questions. I don't know how many times they do it, because I don't know who does it. I mean, I do from the financial accounting, but not from the knowing in advance. So it could work.
So in essence, if we, say hypothetically, we didn't use that 22 right now, that'd get carried on over? Or
Yeah.
is that going to go back into the?
Yeah, typically, we use about 5,000 a month,
Yeah.
you know.
No, I
unless
mean,
something's
but if there's a balance from this year's budget, where's that extra 22 going to go?
Cold surplus.
Yeah,
goes.
so that's, that'll go back into whatever. we
Yeah.
have.
There.
It goes into surplus.
Yeah,
And then, that surplus is reallocated in this budget
And
to
exactly.
different purposes.
yeah.
Yeah,
We can
so,
have it reallocated
you
back
you
to-
probably are gonna spend maybe 20,000 at most, 10,000 at most by the end of the year. Because December, not much is spent.
Mm-hmm.
Because the projects are gotta wind down
Yeah.
versus drag on.
I just wanted so everyone
Yeah.
can hear what the difference where
Yeah,
it goes.
so,
That's, I just trying to
you
make
know,
that point for the, for the
There
public.
is a cushion that looks like it's gonna exist here, probably about 10, 15,000 at least. So, yeah, it's not the 20, but it's, you never know. I mean, we may go, somebody takes us to court, it costs us 50,000. I mean, no way in the world could I expect that.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the things that I would like to understand is, the budget officer's salary
Yeah,
went from 0 to 5,000.
that's right, because,
I understand you did it, but I still feel that the supervisor, that's part of his or her job
I
to
thi- I
keep
think
track
what-
of the budget,
No.
so that, I think this is excessive.
when
I
we
think
did,
there's a lesser
when we
number.
Split
did
it.
the salary thing,
We split it.
Dean said, we'll give you 5,000 for budget officer, and he subtracted 5,000 from the supervisor's salary and says we're gonna be half-time.
Okay,
That's what he said, and that was the rules that we did, and that's what I put in.
Michael actually brought up the fact that he thought the line should be merged, so I just said.
Yeah, well,
All we did, I said, just add it to the supervisor's salary and call it what it
There was
is.
a reason, wasn't there a
But
reason?
then there
that
was,
And then it came
I'll-
back.
it came back.
Afterwards.
I can admit I was wrong. When we merged it, apparently legally, we couldn't do that.
Right.
So we split it, and then the 5,000 came out of the supervisor's
Right.
salary and went
Okay.
into the budget
All
officer.
right.
So it's not extra money,
All
it's
right.
just splitting the thing in half and
That's
putting a
right.
piece
That's what I
down
thought,
there,
where we-
and still half-time work, not full-time.
okay. I got a lot of notes. But
I mean, so now we're not gonna do the townwide revow.
Well, I had no number up till there anyways, the only number I had was the clerk over there.
You know, we were kind of guessing at a certain dollar amount per parcel. If we did the commercial, they were, you know, I don't have the number in front of
Dean,
me.
you never gave me a number, is all I can say, and without
Teresa
somebody,
was here and we discussed it. I mean,
you can discuss all you want, but if you don't give me a number, I can't put it in the budget, because I'm not making up numbers on something, I'm not familiar with all your negotiations and things that you're talking about. So that's no different than other years.
So, we don't have to do it next year, we
No,
can do it the
we
following
do it
year.
anytime.
That was my question, by coming in.
It's,
well, understand that it's not going to happen the year that we started in. So it's going to be a year or two at least before it's going to get done. You know, the data processing typically will take about 2 years worth
oh, yeah.
of work to get
It's a
done.
2-year process normally. You-
One of
Just
the-
doing the commercial, that aspect should be done in a couple of months, you know, 3-4 months, because it's only a handful of commercial properties.
Right. One of the questions I had is, can we start it mid-year?
you Start
Like,
it,
didn't
in other
budget
words,
for it.
take
Start
half
it-
of the salary, put it, reduce
start
it,
anytime you want.
and go mid-year to mid-year, and only pay for half of the person.
I mean, the problem is that this was also part of a two-step process in the sense that Teresa plans on retiring. This was supposed to be something for us to hedge for her to retire and have someone work up to that position, so.
Get a backup.
Kind of, and also have a backup, yes,
Well,
because she was sick last week and I couldn't meet with her.
so is the mid-year thing impossible to do? Is that something to
No,
consider?
whenever you hire somebody, that's fine, it's just, all I'm saying is we're kicking a lot of things down the hill, and then also, we're estimating that certain fees are gonna go up, which a lot of this is a guess game, my opinion is that the real estate market has somewhat leveled off, and with interest rates potentially rising next year to head off inflation, which has all been predicted, all this is gonna go down, real estate's gonna go down. So, you're putting in here, an increase of 15,000 for mortgage tax and sales tax and all these other things. It's a guess game, but indication is we probably won't go up.
So our guess game in the past has always been to guess very conservatively. We would guess a mortgage tax that was way below what we expected to get, and then we'd always get a lot more than that.
Well,
So
I mean-
what we did
Yeah.
is we looked at the recent history, made the guess on what we think it's gonna be, and still this number is lower than what that guess would be.
But even last year, we guessed high.
Yeah, because you didn't know we were gonna
Right.
have,
Well, I mean, I'm just
With
saying.
COVID.
But then we had this conversation last week, right, where you told me that based on population, we're getting less sales tax because our population went
and
down
I took
3%.
that into account. I actually reduced it by 6%. When we came up with a number that we thought we would be at, we took 6% less of it. And that's because we're population generated sales tax.
So
I mean, not having any time to plan or evaluate any of this, I just find myself short here.
Hey, look, I'm doing 8 weeks' worth of work in 3 weeks.
I know, but it would have been nice
Because-
to have this even yesterday.
I just generated it today.
It was done about an hour ago.
Yeah,
honestly.
so, I mean, you're lucky you had that document, at least something to work from.
Okay, so if all these things happened,
Yep.
have you estimated what the bottom line would
Yeah,
be?
I told you.
That's
Yeah,
it
it's
right
on
on
this
this-
letter?
it's under
the
That's
tax cap, but-
predicated on all
Under the
this?
tax cap and it's under,
Okay. All right,
the taxes went down,
Yeah.
6%.
but, you know.
Tax
I'm-
rate, that is.
I'm a little nervous about some of these. You know,
Well, I think one of the things that, you know, the only other way to start changing this, and I think our plan was to try to get salaries, you know, start working with our salaries, getting them up. You know, where we kept kicking the can down the road with that end of it. This is definitely trade-off, I'm in business, I'm always nervous too with, estimations and with, even as Dean says, you know, we are going towards massive inflation. But I do understand, you know, it's a risk. we're
coming
taking.
into this meeting, the first thing I was going to say is, I would like to depending upon what we agree to tonight, revisit the salary increases for the elected officials, okay, that we already discussed, thinking that we would need to make up some money, and I certainly don't want it to
Well, as I said, I
impact
didn't
the
touch any
non-electeds.
salaries. I left them,
Pardon?
I didn't touch any salaries, just whatever we agreed to when we had the meeting, so.
But that meeting said there were a lot, that we inflated a lot of the salaries.
yeah.
Okay? Given, if we end up with a shortfall and we're starting to cut things that are questionable, then I say we need to go back and look at that. Okay? That's all.
No,
So at the last meeting, we took 100,000 plus or minus out of the fund balance.
right,
Did we still take that 100,000
Yeah.
out, or
yeah, it's still taken out. Gotta watch.
did we take
the
any
word.
more?
A little bit more, I think. I don't know.
How much?
I don't know. I gotta look and see. I don't have all the numbers. Let's see.
Because I'm leery of that too, but whatever, we got to make up somewhere.
Let's see. I gotta find the right sheets here. I think this is the one that, no, that's detailed. I can't use that.
I mean, our biggest issue here is
That's that one.
we have demands to stay under the tax cap. We have demands not to raise the tax rate. But we can't kick the can down the road on salaries, and we can't kick the can down the road on certain services, so like.
No, I mean, I wouldn't pick on the salaries, that would be the last thing, but at the same time, I mean, as Nancy brought up, I mean, that would be the first thing I would cut too, is, the elects, we freeze those, but the thing is, I mean, I want to have everybody brought up to some parity of what's going on in the environment. And I don't want to drain the fund balance to the point where now we're back to having to borrow to even pay the bills.
Borrow doesn't really help you because you gotta borrow the money the year and you pay it back the year.
I understand.
So it's a wash.
I understand. You
It's a
used to
wash.
bitch about it all the time, so I mean, I'm just sticking with your mindset.
Yeah, it's a wash. We had to do it in the first 2 years because I had no cash,
I understand.
and it was messy, because I was left with essentially
Well,
zero
that was
balance.
at the end of 2008, when the whole mortgage market crashed
No, it
and
was
everything else
before
crashed,
that,
so we had to make up for a lot of different things.
Yeah, I think it went up, not much.
Did, well, I'll let you answer that question before I ask any more.
I'm trying to find which ones are which. Tried to bring as many sheets as I could. The detail, no. Detail. I didn't bring that one with me. I got this one. No, I didn't bring the other one. I knew we put in 100,000. I think that's the 100, roughly the 100,000 there. We did add some to the highway one, but not to the general fund one. You added the 100,000 that he,
Yeah.
on that one, but I
General.
added like 50,000 or something to the highway fund to help balance that one out too. Because we didn't really cut anything there. We took like 7 plus
Yeah, we,
3 or something like that. $10,000 is all they contributed. Because,
the ARPA stuff.
no, well, yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm just saying it was just 2 items, the stone and the culvert pipes.
Yeah.
Whatever those numbers are. So out of their budget, which is roughly 2 million, we took
11,000.
11,000 or something out of that. All the rest of it was coming out of the general fund.
Okay,
Well, we increased the general fund from 1.6 to 2 million, so there's 400,000 really that we're hiding somewhere.
No, we're not
So-
hiding.
Oh, I can't figure it out, so I'm just.
You can't figure it out. It's simple. We put in the ARPA, which is
Right.
250 roughly,
216,
or 216, whatever the
and then the
number is.
148 for the bond
And
debt
then we
service.
put in the community development block grant,
Mm-hmm.
which is roughly 100,000. So there's 300,000 already.
No, I understand.
And those were not in the budget before. But they're washed out because,
Yeah, then you gotta pay,
The revenues went
On
up.
the revenue side.
Right.
so it's a wash. That's why I said, I didn't even put the numbers down. I could look for them, but that's just a wash. So, now if you take them both out, it doesn't change anything really. Because,
I mean, I'm looking at the grand total, it says 3,600,000 to 4,100,000.
I don't know,
I don't know what you're saying.
On the summary page.
oh, here, preliminary budget, yeah. I don't know what it was. I don't have that sheet here. I didn't bring it. I left it back in the office. I brought the detailed one, but the detailed one doesn't have that information. No, it doesn't have it. I just don't have it here. Now, here's the dilemma that we're facing. We got to have, what is it, Tuesday at the town board meeting, we have
We have a special meeting at 6 o'clock to adopt
this
this
budget.
final
Yeah.
budget, and then it will become the preliminary budget.
Yeah. So that's why I made it the draft one. So that's the schedule. So I have 1.5 days to do whatever you guys want to do and see
Yeah,
what
I
the
just feel
numbers
like I'm
come out.
pushed in the corner and I don't like it.
Well, hey, look, as I said before, I'm doing in 3 weeks what,
I don't know, we talked about this since in August. I mean, don't say 3 weeks. We could have been working on this bit by bit ever since August.
no, I had no secretary for 4 months because you didn't want to give me a secretary. Which means I had to do all the secretary.
Told you to get us, a temp
Attempt, that's not
to help
gonna
you with the budget even.
That's not, I'm not getting help for the budget, but I still gotta get the numbers.
You
Not
you
tight.
refuse to get help. That's your problem.
Okay.
Okay,
Enough.
so,
Let's,
so
I'd like to
whatever
ask
you
a
guys
couple-
want,
I'd like to ask a couple of questions. We don't need to talk about that. It is what it is. Some of these increases, I'm just wondering how realistic they are.
on
Like,
which ones?
have you talked to any of the judges at the court to say the $25,000 is realistic?
What number, Nancy, are you?
17, increased
17,
court
thank you.
fines,
Okay.
Oh, so the court fines,
$25,000.
so the court,
It's a big number, I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
It's probably about a third of what they bring in now.
well, no, so the court fines before COVID were well over $300,000 a year.
Right.
And then COVID hit and people stopped driving because they were
Right.
forced to be at home and it plummeted. This year it's gone up a bit, but not back to the 300. So we kind of took the middle ground of it, where it is now and where it used to be.
Okay.
And that ended up with a $25,000
Right.
increase.
And they think that's realistic as well, or we didn't?
Yeah, just looking at the numbers, you know, we got so many
All right.
months' worth at such a rate, and we just multiply. We did divide by 9, because we used September data.
Yeah.
And then multiply by 12, and that gave us a feeling of what we are right now, and that was bigger. And then we said, okay,
Okay.
So, I mean,
I'm just
this
asking
is
the
the-
question. And,
updated information we were working from now. We didn't do it with the October one, because I just got that today.
okay, and there was, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I missed something, but didn't we have a project to redo the tiling
You know, that's
downstairs?
stripped off.
That's stripped out.
That is part of the 10,000?
Yep, that is the
That
10,000,
is the 10,000,
and that's taken out.
See?
okay.
Kitchen
but-
remodel.
Now, that can be
But
done
it was my
next year.
understanding that the tiling might be a safety issue?
We've lived through it with 5 years or 4 years already, so what's another year?
Well, no,
I'm
let's
just,
not.
I'm just saying.
I'm
that-
just, it
Yeah.
wasn't just tiling, it was the kitchen itself.
No, well, that was the floor.
Because the kitchen is the stuff that's being donated by the
called it-
Masons.
Yeah.
So the appliances are going to be donated by the Masons and that can be done. It's the floor work that we were going to pay for.
But
Right.
new
Right.
information from the Masons, they may kick in more money on that to help cover the costs for this thing.
Can I ask a question? How often does that kitchen get used?
Quite a bit. When,
I'm just curious out of, you know.
well, the
right-
Masons use it once a month roughly.
Well, like 6, 7 times a year, basically.
The Masons.
The
But in
Masons,
the
though.
past, we used to have senior citizens meet down there as a group, and they'd
Gotcha.
cook their meals and learn how to cook different things. The library'd use it to cook with.
Yeah, I think
when they
2 or 3
have
times.
kids there and they want to give them hot chocolate. I'm just
Yeah,
picking
yeah,
something.
I mean, realistically, we could rent it out just like Mylan rents out theirs. I mean, you know, we could make it a money generator. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
It did in the past.
That's not a bad
That's a
idea.
good idea.
Yeah, if we get the work done,
I
we'd
mean,
absolutely.
because the
rent
fire
it out.
department has their breakfast. Used to go once a month. They haven't had it in a year now, but,
That's a good
Yeah.
they rent it out. And so we could do the same thing.
That's a good idea.
That's a really good idea.
As far as court fines, I was kind of snickering in the sense that, I would say that's, depending on people driving as bad as they were, but they're actually driving worse, so.
Oh, yeah.
Fees
They
and fines
haven't,
may even be higher.
Personal?
Oh,
they haven't had 18 months worth of practice.
No, it's,
caught you?
observation, the fact of being in the insurance business.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, and I am a little concerned about how much we increase the fees for the camp and the pavilion.
Well, the camp-
Understanding that we're underutilized now,
Yeah.
all right? So I guess I can't argue with the figure, but I just
here it
will say I'm a little concerned we may not meet that exact goal, okay? We can increase it, but we may not have the numbers that you're anticipating that go with it. That's all I'm saying.
All I know is we gotta fix that park, swimming area with the bees and the seaweed and,
Well, that's.
And everything else.
But that's more of a byproduct of
but people aren't gonna wanna,
managing the park than it is about the park.
but I'm saying people aren't gonna wanna send their kids there, if
Well, that's being addressed, and it will
Yeah.
be addressed by
And if,
Mike as well.
if we can increase the summer camp back to the 20 that it used to be, as COVID is now ending,
People.
Which is
if it was
easy.
20 children again, and then we, instead of $100 a week, which is like 20 bucks a day for a full-time babysitter, everybody loves it, I think we can go to 150 a week.
Yeah, I
And most people will still love it,
We
and it's
had-
an extra 6,000
I
a
think
year.
150 is fine. I mean,
And
Yeah.
Surrounding
cheaper.
towns is actually.
It's
We
still
had
cheaper.
20 We had almost 20 the year before
Yeah.
COVID hit,
Right.
but that was an anomaly. We didn't usually
No,
have that
that's not
number.
true. That, we've had more.
Oh, yeah, we had lots of.
So if we end up with 20 kids at an extra $50 each per week, over the 4 weeks, that's $6,000. So that's why that increased.
Okay,
I don't see any reason marketing that out that we can't get
so the
that.
goal is,
Yeah, I think we can too.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think we
I'm
can.
just trying to understand the numbers, that's all. All right.
And the pavilion increase, I don't think is an unfair.
We need to put some money in
Yeah.
that facility, though.
Mm-hmm.
We
If
really
you go to
do.
a private pavilion, I know of one, not in this town, just a neighboring town, and it's a lot more than, to use that pavilion.
Now, we had an agreement with Ray that whatever monies we took in from the park, it'd be the camp and/or the pavilion rental, that half of that money would come back and be put back into the park.
Yeah.
So, given that that agreement is not going to be null and void, then we can probably make the improvements that we need with that money. Okay?
I mean, you improved it by putting $1,000 or $1,500 worth of landscaping in, for example.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
an improvement to the
Right.
park, and,
Right.
that came out of
I think what we need to
the
do, though,
funds.
is we need to improve the pavilion, especially if we're going to increase the rental and stuff. The kitchen needs help.
Yeah.
Oh, in the
some
park,
other
yeah,
things,
yeah, Fred, I definitely.
So,
agree with
and we could probably do it with that money.
Or ARP money, I don't know,
Yeah.
ARPA money. I
that. We
just,
might be able to do that.
And I know
It-
I
it
won't
wouldn't
be here,
cost
but
much to
I'm
do
creating
my-
a whole list for the person who does take it over, so I'll give it to you. All right. I guess you've answered the questions I have.
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't darts on a dartboard, and we sat for hours going through every one of them.
I am lying, you didn't answer one question.
What did I not answer?
The water, the bottled water versus
Oh, I don't know that
the
one.
system.
well, that,
It says-
How, do we know, I know that the highway department had like $3,200 or something allocated for bottled water.
yeah.
Does the system, it pertains to what? It doesn't pertain to highway, right? It would be just the complex here?
The whole thing.
Yeah, because the water supply is for
The
everything.
way they replumbed this, okay, originally the well was in the basement of the town hall. It fed all the town hall building and the highway.
Okay,
When they put the new well in on the front yard there, they ran a pipe from there over to where it came here, and it's distributed to all the buildings from that point. So there is no separate way of just going to the highway or to any of these buildings. So, that's I wasn't here, I didn't do the design, so that's the way it is.
so highway then is,
It would be included in
It's
the whole
all
thing.
included. All the toilets, all the sinks.
then the arithmetic makes sense.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it does not, because highway had over $3,000 in their budget for bottled water.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Not to include what we do here.
yeah, when the electric goes off, they use bottled water to flush the toilets. And it takes like 2-3 gallons because you don't have pressure or anything like that to move it down. So, it gets to be expensive that way.
Let me ask you something, just going into my business background for what I do with that cost. You have an estimated cost of 2,500. Do you have an actual bid on that?
No,
Because the number seems low on that.
well, we're not justifying that number right now.
No, I know, but I'm just saying the estimated $2,500. I'm just looking
I
at
got
the
that
unit
about-
itself would be.
I got that
at
about
least-
3-4 years ago.
Yeah, and that's,
Well, I mean, if you could use the ARPA funds, it's kind of a wash anyway, so it doesn't really
Well,
matter.
that-
And it's
yeah.
not in the budget at the moment, so
It's
that's
not
not
in the
something
budget.
that's.
The only other thing
Just
which,
pointing out something that somebody suggested and makes sense.
the only other thing which, because I've been working on, and I have some numbers, I've been waiting for, Pete Sparrow and Bob Travis, they finally got back to me, for the heating system in the garage.
Where is that?
And right now, the preliminary number with the cost of the equipment, of course, it's prevailing wage, and that's gonna change everything, and there's some other upgrades that has to be done. We're talking close to 50,000.
Yikes.
The unit, which it's prevailing wage, there's a lot of adding into that. But that's redoing the whole, rethinking, which is a conversation I was gonna talk, that I just finally got, literally just got that stuff, and I was waiting for.
And that's
just-
not even addressed in any of this.
No.
Yeah, no, I know, I'm just seeing this right now, I know Todd earmarked for the equipment of 12,000, where he had, for this year, was to put, he had to, figure it out, because I was talking to Todd the other day.
Okay, I don't know where he has it, so
Yeah, I don't, he just says he had it figured for, when we originally spoke. Now
Oh, we
that's,
talked 2 years ago with it, when you first initially decided to do that. We figured out where it was, but that money's long gone 2 years ago.
he told me he still has it. I spoke
Well,
to
I
him.
don't know where he has it, but he could. I'm not arguing it. I don't know.
And that's what they're estimating as far as the cost. I think their numbers are high to do it. I think they're definitely high going on it, but they're the engineers going off the stuff. I'm in the business for that, for doing 2 furnaces. The furnaces themselves, both of them cost about 10,000 out of that. We're just trying to find out, if we can get it on the state bid. The bids can come out less, just like when, the roofing bids, and we
Yeah,
have.
but are they even available?
Well, that's part of the problem right now. That is part of the problem, if it's doable or
So you
not.
may have to pay more to get a different design just to get them one.
Yeah.
Well, that design has to, that particular firm, there's 2 of them, and Bob and I both agreed. He originally was going off my numbers and which would do it, but because the cost difference on going with the next, doing 2 of the same bigger furnaces, they're very close. It's only a little bit difference between 2 and the same amount of labor to put in both, both of them. So if one failed, it at least gives a little bit more heat.
Backup.
It was backup, and the difference was negligible. It was literally a few $100 difference between, 180,000 to 260,000, but that doesn't affect the overall cost that much.
So what happens if we don't have the money for that?
Well, right now, it's the furnace is limping along, that's in there. That's the problem. The other option, what we could do with that to scale that back, is because we can still, the other furnace is working, and we just gotta get another one, because we were figuring on doing 2 of them, put the, bring the provision in for the gas line and only do 1 of them this year, which will be the backup, we'll even it out. We can just use that other oil furnace and cut it back, so we could cut that cost down quite a bit. And then we could just bring, once we have the gas line over from the tank, and it's to the building, the provisions, and actually that'd be cheaper because the other one was gonna be on the far side where the heater is now. So we could probably scale that back quite a bit to do it in 2 phases.
So 30,000 versus 50?
Well, I'd say at least half, half, you're talking.
Yeah, but the line bringing it over is probably most of the cost, right?
No, well, and he figured, and this is the thing that I gotta go back and refigure, because I spoke to Todd. I says, as far as doing the excavation and stuff, we have the stuff to do all that here. So I got, and I haven't, he just gave me the rough numbers, he didn't give me a breakdown, because they got a million things going on. So I gotta sit down, I'm gonna talk to, Bob on Monday. That was my, goal, where my next meeting was with him.
You're betting on the furnace working. If that cuts out, we have no backup, we have nothing.
Oh, we do,
So-
wood stoves.
Wood stove.
You're going to break up the wood furniture.
No, wood stoves.
That's an exposure.
Yeah, I know.
We ought to have some kind of a backup, even if it's,
I do know that
Contingency
Todd has
that we
spoken to
have
his
to-
brother, who has a wood stove from his old wood stove business, just in case.
It's a backup.
Yep.
Yeah, talk to the insurance provider that you're gonna put a wood stove in there, see what he has.
Yeah, I know.
See what they have to say about that.
Well, you know you're gonna have a lot of problems if we end up with no heat.
I think out of some of the things right now, and, you know, that are, I'm looking at here, so like some of the wants and stuff, that one would be, you know, the Masonic Hall, the painting and stuff, I think we'll be all right going, you know, just doing some minor touch-ups, clean up on the buildings, we can clean up to the
He's
south.
doing it right now.
Yeah, no, I know, I know he's doing it. So, I mean, I think the big thing, that would be the one thing that at least if we can limit the amount and do half of it, I think it'll get them through the winter and we'll be in the right position.
Do ARP if it works.
I don't, see, that's the problem. I gotta see if we can use it for that,
Because
it's so gray
it's a
area.
new installation, it is not a repair. So.
I know, but, well, listen, I agree with you. If we can use that, that'd be a home run.
Well, you gotta
But
study it
there's-
and ask, that's all I can
Yeah,
tell you.
well,
Do we have
trust me,
any
I
guidance on the expansion that they're,
There's still a lot of talk, but there's, you know, just like everyone else, we're all sitting blind. Everyone's saying, oh, well, they're thinking about doing certain things, but there's nothing etched in stone on the differences. And that's what I keep getting. So that's a possibility. If we can find a way to do that, then we're at a home run.
well, it'd be great if, yeah.
But still gonna take time, won't be done early summer, early winter.
No, we know that, and that's all right, well, I'll bring the information that I have. Hopefully Bob will get me a little bit more on Monday when I speak to him.
But get the answer if you can on, ARPA.
Yeah,
That's the killer.
Creative as possible.
yeah. If there's a way, I'll
If there's a way to word it.
There's a way, I'll make it happen.
With the exception of that one and the attorney thing,
We pulled the attorney down.
because I do believe that we're gonna see more attorney fees next year than we anticipated.
We had a lot this year too. But who knows, you just don't know. And for example, in the attorneys, I gotta find where I am here, which document I'm looking at, I'm going crazy.
Your supervisors.
No, I don't want this, no, I want the detailed one, where the detailed one get to.
Detail budget.
Yeah, I got it here someplace. Detailed, adopted, not adopted, draft. Yeah, I got it here someplace. In the attorney's one, we do have other monies there, which are there because we don't know if we're gonna be stuck with them or not. We have special Van Sickle prosecutor, 2,000 in there.
Oh, yeah.
And that's because Dutchess County doesn't prosecute civil matters in town courts. We had one 2 years ago, we haven't had one this year, so there's 2,000. We had, we do V&T, vehicle thing, which we gotta do by law, so we have 16,000 in there. And I'm just trying to see here where we are. See how much.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it'll pop up here. I got so many sheets here.
1420, 494.
Could be. Yeah, I was just looking to see in the October report how much they spent. Oh, there it is, like, no, it's another one. Here we go, attorney. So, V&T, we had 15,000 in the budget for this year, and we spent 11,400. So, we'll probably pick up some more money, and we just never know, because it is what it is. Other attorney, that's only if we gotta hire somebody special. This year, we went over, we always have 500, we went to 600 over. And if we took the number here, it's 52,602 divide by 10 times 12 equals 63,000 if we spend at the spending rate for the part of the year. That gave us 63, and we had 75 in the budget, which is the number we just left. And so that says you got 12,000 picked up there. So you got 12 plus that other 2 or 3, whatever it was. Now I gotta find it here.
And this year, I think,
3
was,
is, so you're talking around 15,000 there. We don't know, but
and I think this year was an especially busy year with the event law and the STRs.
A lot of back and forth with the attorney, with the laws, a lot of changes. Ag events went back and every time it changed, he did the changes. So, and 5 laws is more laws than we typically
Typically.
ever do. Maybe we do 2, you know.
I'm just,
Yeah.
I don't have privy to all that, those
Yeah,
numbers.
no, just to help you
oh,
understand.
there it
Can,
is.
I know you probably think, oh, this is overkill,
that
whatever.
You got 2 of
I'll
them.
take mine back then. if you're
Yeah,
gonna do
yeah,
yours.
yeah, I just found it.
I
didn't know
think
where it
there
was.
needs to be,
Thank you.
not that any one of us should be able to, if we have a concern and it can't be satisfied here, to be able to talk to the attorney. That's a given. But
And we have not
I think it might help
restricted-
to have a little criteria on how, when we call the attorney. Because in the past, I've had some problems with certain individuals calling the attorney on everything all the time, or whatever. And, I mean, if we're going to try to reduce the fee and make it more realistic, maybe there's a little bit of general criteria on when you call the attorney. I'm not saying restrict the board, but have some control.
Oh, yeah, I think,
That's just a suggestion.
yeah, no, I agree with that.
Because
I
every
think if
time
we all just had
every time
a
we
set-
pick up the phone, it costs money.
Yeah,
And sometimes the questions can be answered without
Yeah.
picking up the phone.
yeah. Years ago, we did do that. They had to all go through the supervisor.
Yeah.
And, you know, the problem is, if the supervisor's not there full-time, you may have an important question. Now you gotta try to find them.
And that's
Yeah.
fine. I'm not saying, look at, oh, can I call, I mean, we've got to use judgment.
All right.
But
I'm
I
just
think
saying it's not
sometimes
brand
they're-
new.
I know when I
Maybe a
first got
little
on the
bit
board,
more
I saw
than
the
we
rate that he was getting paid, and I
Yeah.
thought, ooh, I'm not gonna call him very often. So,
Just a
Well, there's a lot of
suggestion.
things that the Association of Towns can help you with.
yeah, it really is, and I've
I
called
them a
them.
lot.
One of the things that I did when I started working on the reval is I called the Association of Towns and they sent me samples and stuff like that, and then, you know, so I've been working with them. I haven't talked to the attorney
It's
at
all
all.
free up there.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, I just want to say, from my experience, I know I belong to the Town Clerks Association, both the county and the state, and the state has an attorney on call for any of us. So I'm sure
For
that any
town
of-
clerks, that
for-
is.
Specifically for town clerks. So if I have a very specific town clerk concern, which I have very few of actually, but I would call that attorney. It costs nothing, and that's their expertise. And so I'm sure maybe the highway belongs to the association, maybe they have an attorney. So that might be something to
They do,
suggest
they do.
to each of the departments, that they can reach out to the
Sure.
attorney that helps their association, because they're free. That's
Yeah.
part of your dues.
That's a good thing.
So maybe the key is kind of using Nancy's baseline, and we have something written up with that in mind, saying, okay, here's these other attorneys that are available for certain
Right.
topics.
Other options.
Other options before we go, if we got it in with the association.
Not to restrict
I think
anybody.
that's a wonderful idea, because I don't think
Yeah.
that maybe people think that way
No.
initially.
Yeah, probably, I would have never even thought, honestly, now, thinking about it, that's
That's
reasonable.
a good idea.
But we have, if we have a list,
Right.
or a procedure, okay, here's, if it's
Right.
under basic criteria here, let's try this first.
If
and
you
we can
tried
always go
this,
on that.
this, and this, if it hasn't worked, then call the attorney, kind of thing, you
Reasonable.
know, but,
Absolutely,
yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I'll say too, like, my one concern with having to get permission of the supervisor to call the attorney is, what if you have an issue with the supervisor? And there's only 2 months left there, but, but what if you did, you don't want to make that phone call. So I feel asking permission of the supervisor is a touchy subject, but if there's other
I
attorneys
don't
we
even
can
know how
call.
legal that is.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
have the
exactly.
Supervisor restricting you, because
Yeah.
you being the only
I've never
Democrat on
done
the
it.
board, if you had a problem with all of us,
Yeah.
we could basically block you, and I don't think that's the right
Yeah,
thing.
well,
either. So-
precisely.
So,
That's why I
and
made
not
that
only that, but
statement.
we're all equal.
Yeah, we all have the same
Nobody-
So we
authority.
all have the same rights.
It's not a
So-
mayor,
And a
council.
restriction is not what
The
I'm looking for.
restriction
It's
should be your
guidelines.
personal
Yeah.
conservativeness.
But I think it's not a bad idea, like, even if all 5 of us did it, come up with what, a guidelines of what we
That's it.
think is the right times to
When in
call.
doubt, you call the attorney,
Yeah,
but.
that's a great idea.
there-
We can save attorney
I think we
fees.
could reduce it by a little.
That's fair, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff that I send and deal with him on, I write the law and ask him to clean it up. I
Yeah.
don't ask him to write the law, because he doesn't know what's in my head.
Yeah.
So that saves a lot of iterations.
Yeah, I think even on STR, I waited till we had like 2 rounds of changes before I sent it to him.
Right.
So that,
So, I mean, it's a timing in the process as to when you call him, because he can only do what he thinks you want, and if he thinks it's different, and he doesn't know it, you're gonna get a product that's not related to what you want.
Exactly. Exactly.
Did we ever figure out how much you took out of fund balance?
Oh, no, because I didn't have the other sheet.
I guess that's the big question. I'm with Dean on it, just knowing that number.
I know the total, it's right there.
So I'm still concerned with 18, 19, 20 being the mortgage tax, the sales tax, and building permits. Do you think
Oh,
that?
you mean the sheet numbers here?
Yeah,
Okay, I just didn't know what you were referring to.
well, that's why I spelt it out for
Yeah, no,
everybody
I
on
just-
TV land to know that I'm talking about the increase in the mortgage tax, sales tax, and the building permits.
sales tax, I saw the spreadsheet that the county sent to us. I think that one's a pretty good estimate. Mortgage tax, I don't know.
Mortgage tax, you only get one number for the year so far. It comes in June. The next number comes in December sometime, but the check comes ACH like the last week or,
I mean, a lot of people that have been buying houses have been buying them for cash, so.
I know,
You don't get no mortgage tax on that.
I know. So, it's a real hard number, and we used what the county told us was coming through. So, that's what they're basing their numbers on, so I'm not smarter than the county on this one.
Oh, come on, Ray.
Okay.
That's on camera.
Well, I guess there's no argument if we're not going over the tax cap, and, but I'm definitely going to peruse this over the weekend to see if I have any more concerns.
Yeah, because, let's see,
I guess I would say the
on
same.
Tuesday, we got to approve something.
Well, Tuesday, we're going to start our meeting at 6,
Yeah.
the special meeting, and so the reason we did that, Ray, when we talked about it, was because it gives the board members a half an hour to look at the draft preliminary budget.
Which we have right now.
So that's in front of you, and then over the weekend, as you peruse it, if you come up with any questions or anything like that, we have a half an hour to discuss it, decide
And
how to go
resolve it.
forward.
Okay.
Right, and hopefully, at the end of that time, you'll be able to approve the preliminary budget.
No, we can approve it if we change 3 lines, for
Yeah.
example. And, the numbers will change, but we got something that we physically approved. And then we'll crank it out, because we have the, public hearing on Friday.
Friday night is the
Friday
public
night,
hearing.
so, it's a tight schedule. It's essentially 2 meetings a week on the budget. And we have to adopt it on the 19th, because otherwise we miss the November 20th, which is a Saturday, and people are scattered all over on Saturday. So, I mean, we spent a lot of time just figuring out how to put this schedule together.
We did a lot of work on salaries and job responsibilities. And I did have one thing in the salary line that I thought should be reduced.
Okay.
Not because the person doesn't do a great job, but in terms of the scheme of salary responsibility, okay? And that was the assessor's clerk, okay? She's making I believe 18.25 an hour. And I believe that to bring her up to 21 is changing the skew of what we talked about. So I think.
In our
I think that
workshop.
salary needs to be a cost of living increase and not going from 18.25 an hour to 21.
We brought her to 20 in the
20,
budget.
20, it's here, yeah, that's what they have currently right now, but yes.
And again, it's not personal, it's business.
No. Yeah, as I said, we just cranked the numbers out, and that's what I put in.
Because we're really trying to start with, what we're doing in this budget is put things in perspective in terms of
Well,
Yeah,
responsibility.
we're trying to set up so we're
Right.
getting more on the playing field where we should have
Right.
been for a while on that.
Right,
Basically, when we did this, we had two numbers. We had 20 for clerks, and we had 1530 for other people. Those were the numbers.
but she's 18 something.
No, I'm just saying, that's what we were
Right.
using when
Well,
this thing was put together.
actually,
So it would be cost
we've
of
made all the
living.
clerks 21, except for her.
Right.
She's at 20 already. She's already getting less than the rest of them.
She's at what? 18, was it at
She's
18.25?
well, she's at 20 in next year's budget when everybody else goes to 21, is what I'm
Okay.
saying.
But she shouldn't be at 21, is my
And
point.
she's not in next
not.
year's budget.
Okay.
The question is why? What do you want to bring it down?
I said it was a cost of living increase that she
From the
should get.
18.50
Whatever
that
that brings
18,
her up
so
to.
it comes like 19, I'm just guessing.
And it's not she, it's the job,
Yeah,
really.
no,
Yeah, yeah,
but I'm
yeah,
just saying, it's like,
So
I'm
it was
guessing, I
low.
didn't do it.
What was it this year? It was 18,
Right.
1850, and what we were doing 3% or was it 2%?
2%.
2% times,
I'm just trying to add integrity to what we
18.25.
started doing.
okay, hold on, 18.25.
That would bring it to 1861.
Okay, I said 19, I was just quick.
Yeah, I don't know, I think when
Want that
everybody else goes
changed?
up to 21 and that, I think keeping it at 20 is all right with me.
So, are we gonna change that one or not? I just need to know, I don't care, I can change the
We're not
numbers.
talking about a lot of money, just,
No, we're not, but,
I understand what you're saying, but, you know, I don't know.
I mean, it's pennies, but that's not the point.
But you know, if something changed and we had to get someone out, I think the whole concept was try to put it at a more competitive rate to get the people involved. And that was our goal, you know, this year was to take this was a big jump from where usually balancing a budget on the general fund employees that we're trying to do something and trying
Help
to
'em.
fix a problem. I'd probably say at that point, I'd probably leave it.
And we can also recognize
It's
that.
fine.
I mean,
whatever you
that's my
decide.
opinion at
Whatever
this
you do.
point.
I
think
just
we're.
felt I needed to bring that up.
And now that we've been able to stay under the tax cap and do these raises, we now have a great base moving
To
forward.
reference next
Okay.
year's.
Yeah.
That's fine.
It'll definitely make it easier next year.
Yeah.
So, that's where we are. Send me an email Monday morning so I can incorporate any changes anybody wants. And we'll print out a new document. It won't be a draft, it'll be preliminary budget. And again, trying to keep the rules the same, tax down and under cap. And if it doesn't fit that, then, we'll have discussion on public hearing.
And we'll have
Not
a,
public hearing,
and
at
if we
the
come up with something, then we've got
preliminary
that half
meeting.
hour, right?
Right.
No comments from the gallery?
I can't see.
They say no.
No? Okay, couldn't see. So the meeting's done then?
Make a motion.
Okay, I will. I just want to be sure.
We got 3 more hours, come on.
He's only taking a sip out of that jug of coffee.
Yeah, well,
there.
I've been here till 3 o'clock when these in the past. Okay, I make a motion that the town board adjourns the meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carried.
Funny. Listen, I
Okay, we're
remember
done.
2 a.m. days, right? I mean, we were
Planning board used to go to 1.
like, you're like, yikes.